And welcome back to UnderCurrents. This is a podcast where we speak to ordinary people who often turn out to be not that ordinary after all. Today we have Lizahn. She's joining us from the Western Cape. And in fact, you used to live overseas for a period of time and then decided to come back. This is something that a lot of people have on their minds. And I'm not someone to say you should immigrate. I think you shouldn't. But tell me a little bit about that scenario. Where were you? What happened? Why did you come back?
Roman, I had a fantastic time. I have to say, I can't sit for 1 second and say that I hated every minute of it. But as a South African, and I've left a lot of people behind in New Zealand, and we were there for a long time. We were there for 11 to 12 years, sort of like in betwixt and between. And I loved it. It was great. It offered me chances, but it is very tiny. It is very small. I mean, and we are South African. The South Africans, obviously, they had their little groups. They used to call them the South African New Zealanders. It was SANS, I think. And I think we did what everybody did when the big 94 came down. We were all, oh my goodness, we're going to have a lot of trouble. I was in Pretoria at that stage, and I was actually living right next door to the union buildings. And we all thought, okay, here comes big trouble. So let's get out of here. My Sanal's dad, my husband at that stage, was studying cardiothoracic surgery at HF Verwoerd, which is now Steve Biko, and it was just a natural process for him to finish his studies then in New Zealand at the Green Lane Heart Clinic. We had that big AIDS problem here. I don't know if you remember, and people you
I do.
rush in. And so it was like AIDS tests and all of this. And we just went, well, it's not worth putting the family at risk continuously because we have to treat people. And let's take this chance, which I thought was fabulous. I took it as an adventure, which I think people should take. You can always come back if
Yeah.
you want to. It's not something that is permanent. And I never immigrated South Africa. I went on a long holiday, and I came back because of my mum and because of family. You think you're sitting out there, you are alone. Yes, you've got friends. Yes, you've got work. Yes, you are doing well, but you do not have family, and there is nothing like family at the end of the day. I'm sitting now, I'm getting my second granddaughter next week, being born on Tuesday, and I'm
Nice.
back again in South Africa. I've been in South America as well for 3 years because I love South America, but once again I'm back here, and it's because of family. If you do not have your children and your grandchildren, especially at my age and being alone, I mean, it's just opened something for me that I can't give up. If opportunities came across that would make it great for all of us, then obviously you have to look upon that. But there is something that this country has, it's humor. It is a little bit in our arrogance and the way we do things. And it's just, there is something here that's amazing. I'm not a big Briflays, brandy and coke and
What?
Chevrolet and yeah, I'm not a big girl in that sense for that. I do like a good bride. Don't take me
Oh,
wrong.
okay, good.
I've
I
got
was about to say.
Susatis in my fridge that's homemade, but it's not that drew me back. It's not, it didn't make me extremely unhappy to not have that. It made New Zealanders very unhappy when we won the rugby at Television New Zealand. We weren't talked to. We were only two South Africans that worked for TV New Zealand, and oh gosh, it was hectic. Yeah. So
But
yeah,
but
we're back.
talk to us about that life there. So I have family who moved to Australia a few years back. I go to
Mhm.
Europe very often to see family as well. And whenever I come back, there's always like a giant sense of relief when I come back to South Africa. I see the border management agents at Ora Tambo, and like I could just kiss them. Like it's just I'm home. Like you can just speak normally to people. You can just
Yeah.
have fun. You can crack jokes. It's a huge relief. When I'm in Europe for 3 weeks or a month, it's lovely. It's nice. You can walk the streets, but
You're
it's
right.
it's it's psychologically and physically tiny. what people talk about, what the news talks about, the culture, it's very small.
Oh, yeah.
And when
Well,
I
I
come back
think
here, it everything just opens up again. I can just be free here. I feel it feels difficult to be free elsewhere. Like, did you come across that, or did you just sort of immerse yourself within the New Zealand at the time, the culture there?
I think the one thing that all South Africans have to realize is the minute that you go overseas, you are the immigrant. So you are the Pura, you are the Greek. Look, I'm Afrikaans. I was an Afis. So and also, I mean, I'm 57 this year, so I'm not a youngster anymore. I lived through apartheid, as we came across, and I know how certain people were treated. My best friend is Greek, Ksenia Psarakis, and we've been friends since, oh, I don't know, forever. And her parents came to New Zealand, or came to South Africa. They were the first immigrants, and the way that we treated them. I mean, I remember as Afrikaners, and I suppose the British, the English-speaking Afrikaners, them treating immigrants in South Africa. You are that when you go overseas. So you are
Yes.
of no importance in New Zealand and Australia. You're there to work and to contribute. I was very young when I went over. Well, not very young. I mean, age is relative, but I was young. And I will never, I just got on with work. You are going to work. You're going to work very hard. And you're going to have a lot of people coming to you and taking you on due to the fact that you are South African. Okay. That actually got a little bit up my nose. And I got into some serious, nasty discussions depending on how I felt as well that day. Was I going to answer the question, or was I actually going to get into the debate, or to just ignore it? But you are not really wanted there.
Mm.
And you continuously had that feeling. And I think that's why when people go overseas, they join all the South African teams. Oh, we've got a South African church, we've got the South African neighborhoods, we've got all of that. I didn't do that. On the contrary, I had to live in town because I worked for Television New Zealand. I studied over there, film and television as well. I loved my job, and I loved what I did. But New Zealand is very tiny. I love Australia. I haven't been back to Australia. It would have been great had I done the jump over, but it's very difficult to be a woman eventually alone with a child that you're bringing up, and you're having a full time job. It's if you
Mm.
don't have, it's not South Africa. And I think a lot of South Africans, even then, Roman, didn't make it. That they didn't make it then. So it's not easy, but it is an adventure and it's hard work. And if you put it in, you will get from it what you will. But just remember, it's not your country, it's not your people. And because other South Africans are there, does not mean they'll be your friends when you're in South Africa. So people aren't just your friends because they're South African. There's a lot of people that think, oh, it's okay, I'll be fine because I've got other South Africans there. No, you've got your crowd.
Mm.
So your creed, or your bend, or whatever you want to call it, and those are your people. And if they're not with you, then you're not just going to be friends with somebody because they're South African. If you know what I mean, you're
Of
not
course.
necessarily just going to have something in common with them.
I mean, I'm not
So
friends with most South Africans on a daily basis. Why would I make friends with South Africans bloody well overseas somewhere?
right. So,
Doesn't make any
I
sense.
mean, that is the thing. So, there's a lot of changes. And look, I've always loved other cultures. When I get to our Tambo, I'm not as happy as you. Let's put it that way. I'm not normally quite as happy as what you are. And I think they see it in my face because they just call me
Right.
out straight. They make a line for me continuously. Um,
So, how
but
long were you there? And what did you notice when you got back here?
look, a lot of people never came back to South Africa. So they will go to New Zealand, they'll stay there. They might come once every 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. For me, it was different. I came home every year on holiday, you know.
Okay.
So I saw things slowly changing, but also it is different when you're coming to South Africa on holiday than what it is if you're coming back to stay. So I saw certain things changing. I was in New Zealand for a while. I mean, 11 to 12 years, that's long. My daughter grew up there. She was a full blown Kiwi when we got back. She wasn't South African. And so first of all, thank goodness Sanal had that advantage that she could be in South Africa once a year too, because we had no family in New Zealand. I was alone.
Mm.
I was, I had my friends and the friends I'd made, and also I'd gotten divorced, so I was a woman alone there, and I had my daughter, and it was had our holidays here. When I came back here to stay again, I thought it was going to be much easier than what it was for me. It was very difficult for me to do that. But if you've been out of the country so long, you've only been here on holidays, you don't realize how much you have changed as well, because you do change. And
Do you become
yeah,
a Karen? Do you
well, I'm
become
not
a
a
Karen?
Karen. No,
Not you
I
personally,
hope not.
but I
you
imagine
know.
like New Zealand is basically an island full of Karens, right? So if they come to South
Oh,
Africa, like they would moan about a pothole or something. And not even a
well, the
pothole,
one
like a
thing,
branch going over the neighborhood wall or some nonsense.
the thing that I loved so much when you mentioned it just now was like small news. They've got small news. And I mean, I couldn't get over it. The fact that there's no news. There's no news. South Africa, you can hardly get ahead of the news because there's so
Sure.
many things going down a day. There, the first week I got there, the news was that a whale beached on the beach, and we were trying to get the whale back, and that was it. That was the news in New Zealand for a week. So the other thing that I really love about this country is that everything is not boxed, and you know you can't get away with anything in New Zealand. I mean, it was so
Yeah.
funny. I drove to work one morning, dropped Sanal off at before school care, and then I raced into Auckland. And all of a sudden, as I take, the road to nearly get into where I was going to Television New Zealand, I get called over by a cop. But as I was on the motorway, I looked and I thought, shit, this cop following me or what? And he just like pulled over, and I was like, dude, is everything okay? And he was like, ma'am, your seatbelt. So I was like, no, I'm wearing my seatbelt. And I realized I was not wearing my seatbelt.
Right.
And I said, oh, sure, but I'm so sorry. But I dropped my daughter off, and I got in the car, and I was on the phone and driving to work, and I forgot the seatbelt. But you will get your fine, you will be reprimanded, and you will never do that again. In South Africa, it's spot fine and you move on.
If
Which
there
is
is a
like,
spot fine. So
yeah, it's
I
a
had
spot fine.
I had JMPD outside my house on Saturday morning, last
Yeah.
Saturday. And I look, I'm like, what on earth is going on here? They're ringing my bell. They're like sort of trying to get in. I'm like, this is very strange. What, like, I don't know. Maybe the president has got a wind that I'm suing the government or something. I was like, I don't know.
John's looking for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Sinead is looking for me. So I was a bit concerned. So I go outside. I'm like, oh, no, officers, how's it going? And like, no, you must come outside. I said, well, I don't really want to come
Mm,
outside. I said, no, we
mm,
need to show you. I said, okay, fine, I'll trust you. There was three officers, two ladies and a man,
mm.
two men and a lady. So I go outside, like, yes, sir, how can I help you find people? And they're like, I'm renovating. So there's a pile of bricks on my driveway. They're like, this is illegal. I'm like, really?
No,
Okay.
no,
He says,
really?
and, no, and then he says, back in the day, we used to have money to fix pavements, not anymore. So now it's your job to make sure the pavement is not impeded. I said, yeah, where's the money gone? Said, no, these people are stealing it. I admit that. I said, yeah, I know. Anyway, we had a fat chat for half an hour. We left on such good terms, and I didn't get any fine whatsoever. I was supposed to have some permit, or the builder is supposed to have some permit to keep bricks on the pavement outside. But I had such a great, interesting, insightful conversation with three JMPD police officers, and now I know more about what they go through on a daily basis than most people. And they are like they are on our team, like without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
They have
Oh,
no
yeah.
pay increases. They can't keep up. Their cars break down. They're very frustrated. People are stealing money all over the place. and we agreed on basically everything. So it was a very nice exchange. In any other country, to be like, oh, this is a fine, don't do it again, off you go. Here you can have a
Big
conversation.
trouble in any other country. Big
Yeah.
trouble. Big
Whereas here
trouble.
you can have a conversation. I think it's
Yeah.
great. More people should do
You
it.
know, the thing that was so amazing for me when I got back from New Zealand was the fact that you could do the spot find thing, or you could say to somebody, listen, what's your bank account? Can you do me this favor? And I felt like guilty to say that and guilty to do that. But listen, that feeling went away very fast. Once I saw it working for me,
The
I was
guilt,
just like,
yeah.
okay, I'm going to add to corruption. Yeah, this is working for me in certain ways. But yeah, it's not
It's
the right way because
so
look where we're
so
sitting now.
in some societies, corruption is the only way to get things done. Right. If you look
Oh,
at
South America.
and a good example is not South Africa, funny enough, it's Italy. So if you look at Italy post World War II, right, there's been so much development in Italy post World War II. Do you think there have been fewer regulations? No, they're like 1,000 times X regulations in 60 years, etc. But there's still development, there's still new things being built, there's still stuff being built, there's still foundations being laid. How? Because people just pay the officials to hurry it up. That's all it is. So
Yep.
sometimes corruption is beneficial. You can in South Africa, you can either go through the court system, which takes 3 years and you need to hire an attorney, or you just pay the spot fine. I'm paying the spot fine. I don't care.
Look, you can't because it's just ridiculous. We can't do courts in South Africa in any case anymore. So it's best just if you sort it out.
Correct.
And
It's more honest.
I don't know if we're not telling people to do this though. We're not telling people to do this, but um, the thing is just we're such a mash and such a like what do you call it, a patchwork of so many different groups of people. You don't find that in New Zealand. I don't know. Look, it must have changed a hell of a lot since I've left because I think they were much more multicultural and diverse now than what they were when I was there. Because there we just had the Maoris and we had the immigrants, which were a lot of South Africans at that point. Who else? Wow, gosh, basically South Africans, really, not joking. Okay, the Chinese that had their own setups in New Zealand. They had their own neighborhoods. They had their own shopping centers, everything. Um, but there's just something in South Africa to make. I mean, if we think about it, there's 14 different tribes. I mean, we've still got the English and the Afrikaners that never got along. I'm still
Yeah.
from the situation where, yeah, I actually still come from the Afrikaans situation where my mom said, you are not allowed to speak English in the house and you're not allowed to bring English speaking people home because they killed us in concentration camps. So, so
Valid.
now we're working with all of these people in one little country and it's just I don't know. You got to find a system like a spot find or something that works for everybody just to get something done. Otherwise everybody's just gonna nothing's gonna get done.
Yeah. Nothing will get done. Nothing will get
Yeah.
done. I fully agree. But you can only pay the spot fine outside of the Western Cape. If you try it in the Western Cape, you go to jail. So you have to be wary,
My
which is why I don't
biggest
want to live there.
Mama Pumalanga was my favorite. I had lots of chances there and it worked for me. Pumalanga spot find worked for me. Western Cape is a different situation, but I mean, Western Cape is just bureaucracy and it's killing us. It's the bureaucracy in the Western Cape is killing us here. Really, it's
Yeah,
no joke.
yeah. So
Um,
I always make the observation. It's not even a joke anymore. The DA is the only party that actually applies the laws of the country to their detriment. So the law of the
what?
country says
What?
you must license your solar panels. No one else cares. Like the ANC who put the law in place doesn't do it anywhere they govern. Oh, but the DA do it because it's the law of the country. It's like idiots. They're trying to make you look bad, and you're falling into the trap once again.
Yeah, we had this conversation before we went live to air. I am so over the DA and their bureaucracy and their politicking. I was probably the biggest DA, Helen Ziller, happy person in 2010 when I first came to Cape Town because we were in Stellenbosch before we came, which is another situation, Stellenbosch, I call it. But we were there for 2 years for Sanal to finish her high school, and then Sanal went to film school here in Cape Town, and then mom had to come as well. But um, I was just like, wow, everything works. It's so beautiful, and there is Cape Town is so special. But I have just literally what's happening to Cape Town is scary. It is scary what's happening down here,
So what are
and
you feeling what are you feeling on a daily basis that makes you say that? Because I don't know Cape
well,
Town. I go
first
for
of all, I
holidays and I
saw,
come home.
yeah, yeah, it's it's first of all, when the elections happened, when was last year? Gosh, it feels like so many years ago. When elections happened, I sort of started seeing the buses coming in, because I was in town at that stage, and I sort of like saw the buses coming. And I said to a friend of mine, my best friend Tim Balani, I said, Tim, Lani, have you seen this? And he says to me, nah, nah, nah. And I said to him, check this out. There are buses coming in, and I don't know where all these people are going to stay. What's happening here? Is this just before election? What? And we sort of like watched it and became aware. And as that happened, obviously crime took off. I had a guy at my window, things like that. I looked at this, I thought, not very happy. Cape Town has changed from lockdown quite a
Hmm.
bit, Roman. It's changed quite a bit. Also, it's become unbelievingly expensive. It's just crazy. And I know that the DA has this thing where they go, okay, well, we're running a successful city, and successful cities cost money, and people want to be in successful cities, and that's why it's so full, and that's why people are rushing to Cape Town. Yeah, yeah, that is true. But we can't keep on taxing the Cape Townians and the locals here, because everybody is not living on the Atlantic seaboard anymore, or in the inner city, or has an indisposable amount of income that we can just keep on paying for the prices that's just shooting through the roof, because we are paying percentage wise as to what our properties are evaluated as by
Hmm.
the city of Cape Town. And you know what people seek to never forget, please don't forget this, is that a 25 square meter apartment in Buitekanstraat or wherever is going to cost you 2 million rand. So you're in a cage in Buitekan Street for 2 million rand. So yes, we might pay percentage wise less taxes and all of that, but our homes are so much, our property values are so high, and it costs us an arm and a leg. And then obviously the whole thing came out. Like the whole Atlantic seaboard, I think, is sort of like owned how many percentage? It was definitely about 50% by people from abroad, which I also had a lot of when I was in town. And then they all rent their little posh places out to Airbnbs and Bs, which pay their mortgages. So they go overseas, right? They go and get all their mortgage loans at 0% interest rate. They come to Cape Town, they buy the best spots up. They're paying 0% interest rate because it's all financed from abroad. They're renting these places out back to us, that are South African or whoever Cape Townians are. Yeah, I don't want to be now too nasty about the rest of the people that come to Cape Town. And they're getting these enormous amounts of money, which is covering their mortgages abroad. And then they still get a free holiday thrown in, that they can use
Yeah,
their house for. And when they sell this house, it's great. They've got no more debt. Um, that's the thing we're sitting with. Now, what's happened? People, Cape Town itself is crazy. It's absolutely insane. People from lockdown sort of like started moving out towards the Southern Peninsula, so Muizenberg areas, Komiki, Noordhoek, those areas, because we can work on computers now. We don't have to be in Cape Town, Central Cape Town anymore.
sure.
Well, now we're sitting with Scarborough, Komiki, and Noordhoek. I think they came out with 78% owned by Germans, Dutch, and the French. Okay. The
Loads,
property
loads of
values
French.
are through the roof, Roman.
Mm.
We can't keep up. They've now wanted to extend Massey, right? Now, Massey is our problem here. Massey is in between all the little estates. So we've got Lake Michelle, all of those places. And you have to be in an estate if you're close to Massey because there's trouble. So they want to extend Massey. Now, just behind Massey, there were people with greenhouse, like what was it? Old Harry Gooman's of his nursery, and there's a lot of people that's got like little bit small holdings, not too large, very tiny, but they've got their chickens and they've got their things, and they are contributing. And we go buy chickens there, we get free range eggs. We go to Harry Gooman's to buy the new florals of the seasons, whatever, to push in the ground. And the DA has been at their door since 2018 to buy up
Yeah.
their properties to therefore extend Massey. These people obviously have gone to the DA and said, listen, dudes, this is not enough bucks. We want more moolah. So where the bucks, which is actually the money that my property is worth,
Mm-hmm.
because that is what the property is worth, and the DA is offering them half of what the property is worth. I had it, and now that's Komiki and that area there. Now they are bringing this to Fishhook as well. So Fishhook, um, the what is it? It's the hospital, the Fishhook Hospital. I think that's where they want to start another development and put up all kinds of things there. And the people are furious because they're not paying the people market related prices. Either people aren't going to take this, they're just going to expropriate it.
Yeah,
That's what we
correct. But also, why is the DA putting low cost housing in the middle of established places? Like, I think it's crazy. Like in Greenpoint, they are building like a
look at what
thousand
they did.
units or something like that. All over the place. I hear people saying, no, they want to build like a skyscraper for like poor people, but it's in the middle of my suburb. Like, I would also be
Look,
before,
we have that same thing in New Zealand. Okay. What they did in New Zealand was
Yeah.
they integrated sort of like the poor people into the middle class areas and the high class areas. It was like a block of flats, whatever, a block of, whatever. And these people used to move in there, free housing, whatever. And then everything around that area just used to die.
Of
you
course.
know, and the property values would go down and everything became a huge big, yeah, cesspit. It's just awful. If you've got state lodging or anything in New Zealand like they used to have, then you don't go close to that part of the area in that part. You always buy on the other side of it because your property is just never going to increase in value. You're going to lose a lot of money. In South Africa, that's what's happening now. So what they've done is, I think it was in Woodstock. They started this development years and years ago, man. Gosh, I think this was 2015 that they started with this thing that Gordon has now pushed through. Gordon Hill Lewis, Mr. Gordon Hill Lewis, has also got a weak face. Sorry, we're talking about weak faces.
I'm not. I'm not John Hill Lewis. No offense taken.
Yeah, but I just feel that the DA is run, okay, except for Helen, which I've got a lot of respect for Mrs. Zela and whatever. I think she's very intelligent, but I also think that she's played the game very well. I think they're total socialists. I'm sorry, Roman. And I think the
Yeah.
people of the Cape need to wake the hell up because you can't keep on doing this. We are taking from pensioners and people that can hardly afford to pay anything anymore in Cape Town, and they are just taxing the living daylights out of them. And yes, it's great. It's great. Our rubbish is always taken away. Okay. And
Mine as
things
well.
work.
Mine as
But
well.
exactly. But I mean, how much am I paying for that? And
Yeah.
then now, this whole new thing where they're now displacing people. And then, Roman, let's just read now who's living in Massey?
Eastern Cape
Zimbabwe.
immigrants. Oh yeah, and other
Zimbabwe,
immigrants. Yeah.
right? Believe what the DI are doing. And I mean, I'm saying this to people over and over. Wake up. We can't. And the DI just keeps on, oh, well, everybody wants to be in Cape Town because it's so good because we've created this fabulous place. Yeah, sweetie, you have. But there comes a time that the place that you have created can't support the
No,
people that are
exactly.
actually living in it anymore.
In an
So,
ordinary, if you go back in history, you make a wonderful place and then you defend it. Now we
right,
think, oh, we create a wonderful place and we just allow anyone in. Like the DA is like the Keir Starmer of South Africa, right?
oh,
We're gonna
let them
we're gonna
come.
let them come. We're gonna tax everyone to fund for it, put them up in hotels and bullshit like that. And if you say anything out of turn, you go to jail for hate speech. Like that's where the DA is going to go in time to
Oh
come.
yes.
Watch
Oh
all
yes.
these laws, hate speech bill, expropriation act, all this stuff. Like the DA is going to use them for this
Oh,
particular social
absolutely.
engineering experiment. People are worried about the ANC is too retarded and stupid. Ignore them. The DA is not stupid. They will use these
But
things for what they want to do.
Roman, if the DA weren't that stupid, how the hell did they get themselves into such a shitty situation with the GNU?
Because they
I
don't know how
mean,
to. They don't know
how
how to
could they get
negotiate.
such shitty postings? Hey?
They don't know how to negotiate. Ever. The ANC are master
Mm.
tacticians and negotiators in politics. They've been doing it for 100 years. The DA go to a meeting and they make a decision that everyone hates, but they pursue it because everyone made the decision. There's a world of difference between
Oh my goodness.
strategizing and negotiating positions and the way the DA does things. The DA doesn't negotiate; they just have meetings all the time. That's why.
I watched the whole thing, as I said to you previously, go down with you and with Ronaldo and with all of that. And I sat back because not being a DA happy person anymore, I was really looking to see how the DA was going to handle that. Either had the backbone to stand up for their people. And I felt for the first time the DA was bringing in some young, really dynamic people, being you and Ronaldo had. Like when he first started his podcast and his things, he was a bro, he was like very broish, but he has
Um,
grown up and he has become a big voice, and I just literally in the beginning I looked at my foot, oh no, no. And now I actually think he's done so extremely well. I'm actually one of his biggest supporters now.
right,
And what they did to Ronaldo, I just went, ugh. And then I saw, they're gonna come for you. And they went for you and they went for Ian Cameron as well. And I thought,
correct.
it's going to be interesting to see what's going to fall out here. But the way you stuck it in there, I just go, yeah, you go. I loved it. I
Yeah,
loved the way
they-
you handled
you
it.
can't.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like, oh, please resign. Why? Oh, because media pressure. It's like, no, fuck you. No, fire
No,
me. Make a
there's no reason
decision.
why I should do my job.
Or you must resign. No, I refuse. Not a
Yeah.
chance. Force me out,
Look,
and they did through bullshit means, which is why I'm suing them. But
well, I'm looking
yeah,
forward to seeing. I'm even more excited to see what you're going to get out of this whole scene scenario from them because I have literally turned. Um, I turned. Look, Emilio is amazing. If I talk about podcasters now and what's happening in South Africa, it is actually quite amazing. It's making us feel a little bit more that we've got a little bit more control, and I think that's what people like you, people like Ronaldo, and Rob Hershoff, I'm taking my hat off to him. If he can just please stop praising the bloody DA. I'm so sick and tired of Rob continuously thinking and pushing this thing that the DA is our only solution. No, it's not. No, it's not. The DA
no,
is
it's
not
not.
a solution. The DA is a socialist network in my it's really not a solution for us. I'm living here. I've seen it deteriorate. I see what's going on here. Cape Town is really not safe. When I first arrived in 2010, it was great. It's really not what it was. It's not at all. It's not safe. I don't always feel comfortable, but then it's so great when you go on a first Thursday to go check all the art. As you can see, I'm aesthetically drawn to art and things like that and beautiful things. And you go into the City Bowl, it's amazing. That feeling is insane. And you feel, oh, everything's cool, everything's fine. You get this sort of like fake security in Cape Town. It's
So
not
cool.
that. It's
Yeah,
very fake. It's very fake. And the DA pushes that narrative all the way through. And that's why when, Emilio turned away and he said, okay, he was going to stand with the RP party, what's it called?
referendum party.
Yeah, the referendum party were full Craig and that. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, because then the DA stopped talking about federalism. And my big thing with the DA was always, I like federalism. I flippin' love it. I think that
Yeah,
federalism is the way it must go. The Zulus aren't happy with the causes. Like, look, we're back where we were in 1994, according to me, quite frankly. So I think that, I like the whole thing of let's have 9 provinces. Let's do this and let's get rid and let's just sell off these SOEs. Can we please get rid of these big things that are hanging around our necks and costing us a small fortune? Privatize them and go ahead. And it is so easily done, but obviously we do not want to do that. And I can't see that the DA will ever do that because they like to be in power and tell you what to
Yeah.
do.
I mean,
They like that.
all the GNU leaders had a weekend away last weekend. And then they
Oh, I
released a
did see that.
statement, right? And the statement basically is we agree
Wow.
on inclusive growth and transforming the
Oh,
economy and
mm.
unlocking potential. I was like, shut the fuck up, guys. Like, you are talking exactly like the ANC. Exactly. There's no such thing as inclusive growth. If you change the definition of a word by adding another word in front of it, it's bullshit, right? Like
Exactly.
justice, great.
The
Social justice,
buzzwords.
complete bullshit, right? Growth, great. Inclusive growth, complete bullshit. Like, you don't actually want to do what the word means. That's why you add stupid words in the front of it. And I read this GNU statement of intent. All they do is go to a weekend away, they talk shit for 2 days, and they come out and say exactly the same thing that they agreed upon a year ago.
Right?
And fuck all gets done. It's like,
Yeah,
what's the
exactly.
point?
That
What's the
all gets
point?
done, except your taxes are going to go up, mate, because we went away for a weekend. So you're going to pay for it, come hell or high water,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I don't pay
And then
taxes. I'm
Helen
unemployed.
races back to Cape Town yesterday to come and overwhelmed by the ANC people leaving and coming, defecting from the ANC to the DA. Uh,
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
guys, this should
Disgusting.
make you very worried that the ANC guys are actually joining the DA. This is a scary thing. This is not a good show, you know? And I'm like, guys, can't you see this? You know? And
Yeah.
I'm glad
I
that
think,
people are being called out. They're being
I
called
think,
out. I mean, I look at
wasn't this,
Sizwe. He's great.
yeah, so a few months ago, I'm sure the EFF in the Western Cape moved to the DA, and they made a big song and dance about welcoming them into the party. Like, guys,
It
the
would
barbarians
not
are not at the gates;
surprise me.
they're inside, and you're saying
Look,
welcome and giving them buffet dinner. What the fuck?
you will see what happened. I have to vote in town, at the big, what's that building there? I still don't even know the bloody building's name, but I've got to vote there in town. So obviously on the day that we were voting, I said, I'm not going to vote. And then obviously I got bloody bullied into voting. So off I went and I checked the queue. I drove past a couple of times and I went, oh, bugger, I'm not standing in a queue. Now I've got better things to do with my life than actually just waste my life. And then 8:45, I obviously went and joined the queue in town. And it was quite amazing for me to see what happened there. They had a whole EFF like set up there. So they had people there, they had food there, they had everything there. We were standing there like wombats, literally. The EFF were partying, they were cruising all the way. I nearly joined the party. And then we all walked in and we walked out. And strangely enough, I thought, I want to see who actually won that part of town, which is Center Town. Now, Center Town is Greenpoint, it is De Waterkant. I think Tamboeskloof does have their own, they've got their own little section, but
Right?
because, that was where I was sort of like, that's where we've got to go. True to Bob, do you know that that went to the EFF?
Really?
That section of yeah, Midtown City, Cape Town is EFF. They took that and they took it by far. Observatory went to the EFF as well. Well, which didn't surprise me because I saw it. I don't know about Woodstock. I'm not quite sure. I think Woodstock still stayed, yeah. But I looked at a couple of things and I went, wow, it doesn't surprise me. But then also the one thing about the DA that I think people should be really sorry, I'm ranting off here, but people should start waking up and seeing the manipulation that's going on here.
Yeah. In what way?
I feel the DA is manipulating, trying to manipulate its voters into like we are the only solution and we are the no, you're not the only solution. And then somebody gave me a bit of a whap on X yesterday. Oh yeah, but that party is too small. The party might be too small, but if you're going to keep on saying that, then that party is going to stay too small. You can't vote for the DA because they're the only other party to vote for. The South Africans have to, if they want change, they're going to
Mm.
have to start looking at that and stick to what you know. I am 100% for a federal system. I'm 100% for, if we could, which would never happen. Sorry, that never say never, but I don't think it will ever happen that the Western Cape will be, a segregated country, a sovereign nation of its own, even though it would be nice, but it will never happen. The ANC will never give that up. Let's play real, yeah. But I'm totally for federalism, and the DA has just gone completely. That's completely gone. That's off the table now, and that is
Yeah.
how the DA got their voters, Roman. That is
Yeah,
how they
cool.
got their voters.
But
And
are
now
you
the one
moaning?
thing that everybody ran towards, that's off the
Mm.
table.
I can't think of a single instance where politicians said things to get votes and then didn't do that thing after they got the votes. You're speaking about a brand new phenomenon, the Zan, that I'm unaware of. Are you
Yeah,
saying
I'm so
politicians lie
sorry.
to us to
Yeah,
get our support?
especially in the UK, in those places, But
Never happened.
oh,
What are you talking
yeah, it
about?
makes you nauseous, though. It doesn't help you. Like, it doesn't make it easier or nicer. You just go, oh, and you just get that sinking feeling. And you don't want to lose something that is so precious. And I think
Sure.
for somebody that's a grandparent and that's got two grandchildren, I mean, I wanted to ask you, how are your parents abroad?
My mother is. My father lives up the road from me.
Okay, and how does your mom feel about having her grandchildren here and her being there?
Oh well, we see each other once a year. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's coming now in
Okay.
December. Looking forward to it.
Oh, lacquer. And you were there before, and so it's basically twice you've seen it.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I
were
just
there
I
last
look at
year.
the bunch I've created because I've only got one daughter, and then she's now gone and created got another two on the way, and they bring me so much joy and love, and I look at them and I want to make sure that they're going to have an amazing life. And I feel
Yeah,
that as a grandparent, we are responsible for that. We are responsible for our children as well. Children didn't ask to be here as a parent. So you are responsible to give them the best future you as a parent can for that child. That's
correct.
otherwise don't have children. If you can't give them a great future, don't have them. And now with these grandchildren, I mean, your whole life just comes a full circle, and then you go and you go, oh, these little things are precious. I want the best for my children. And if you want the best for your grandchildren and your children, you have to start standing up for things that are not right. You have to start talking about it. You have to make your voice heard. It doesn't help being quiet anymore. And in a certain way, I feel the whole Charlie Kirk thing, and I feel the whole not wanting to bring that in because we're going to get a lot of comments regarding that. But the
Mm,
whole
fine.
Charlie Kirk thing and the whole Trump thing, it made me realize that, there are people that see how we're being treated, there are people that are taking note, and that we as South Africans now have to do our bit. We have to stand up, we've got to talk, we've got to point the finger and get angry and say no more.
Yeah, correct. And funny enough, after having my children, um, I feel more certain than ever that I want to stay here because I look at people who moved overseas. I see the way their children are being raised. Okay, it's a parenting thing as well, but also there's a cultural
Mm,
thing. My wife's family moved to America in the 1980s. Her like
mm,
sort of second cousins. We went to go see them many years ago in Connecticut. The kid was like 20, smoking weed, long hair, no future. The dad was a, a, a salesman for like the pharmaceutical industry, so he used to drive hundreds of thousands of miles every year. The mother was a doctor, but she was hunched over her laptop at night finishing up things, and the other kid was like a bit of a nerd and spent all his time in his computer room. It's like, mm, is this the dream that you wanted so badly by leaving South Africa? Like, is this your dream? Okay, you live in $1 million house, but you never at home. The kids are smoking weed and long hair, and they don't look at you in the eye. And okay, that happens here. I get it, right? I think it's parenting is
mm-hmm.
much more important than people think. right?
Mm.
But what's the point of moving from South Africa if you live in this shithole where you don't get along with your own family? Like, what's doesn't make any sense.
Look, I think there is a thing in a sense that we think, okay, we have to arm our children with everything that we can give them and a future, and if they want to make decisions, at least they've got it. So that takes that part away from you. So when the children want to become, 20-year-old that's smoking dope the whole time, it's going to happen. I have to say, when I brought Snell back, it was pretty crazy, because she was a Kiwi liberal, well, not, but strange. And also, she couldn't read or write Afrikaans. She could still speak a little because I spoke it at home, but she had to sort of like pass it in high school. And the
Yep.
only way I could get Sanal to listen or read Afrikaans, and to sort of like know what it was I bought her the Fok of Police. Yeah, great for the tag, guys. Thank you. Bring the dollars. I'll have my. I brought her the CDs in that stage so that she could have the words to read and then learn how to, spell and what the words were. And it was so, I also knew that overseas, the kids overseas have a lot of power. As a
Yeah.
parent, you've got very little. The state has the power, and it's not always a good thing. As a matter of fact, we've seen what states do when they have power. And the states overseas have all the power over your children, especially in New Zealand and Australia. And it's not a good show. It's
No,
not a
it's
good
not.
show because you've got no way to discipline and to, yeah. It's not that I say you want to whack your child over the head. That's not what I'm saying. So please, the people who want to, it's not what I'm
No,
saying.
but
The thing is
you're
just
not
you
your
get
child's friend.
undermined. You
You're
get
not your child's
undermined. Your
friend.
word,
You're
yeah.
the guardian of your child. You are the leader of your child. You're not their friend. You don't accept bad behavior. You are the leader. And I got people. I know people who live in Australia, and they come back and they visit often. And all they talk about is how child centric Australia is. What does that mean? Oh, like the children can do like sort of anything they want, and then like every day is like 5 hours of activities, and on weekends we do these activities, and everything's so set up so nicely for the kids. I'm like, why don't you let your kids be bored? Read a freaking book once in a while. Why go to violin and piano and surfing and fucking karate and all the shit all the time? Like, let them be bored. Oh, but then they got their Nintendo when they're bored. Come on, man. Like my kids have. I don't think I'm like the world's best parent, but they don't have iPads. They watch some TV sometimes. What they do is they draw and they read books and they build Legos and shit like that. And I don't tell them what to do. I just limit what they're able to do. I said you can go to your room and you can stay there for as long as you want and you can do whatever you want. There's no bedtime, but you have to be in
Mm.
your room at 7:30. Do whatever you want. I wake them up in the morning and the room's a fucking nightmare because there's coloring pencils
You're
and all
right.
sorts of
Looks
shit
like a
all over the place.
circus.
But uh, that's freedom. You get the freedom in this limited band of that I'm giving you, right? That's leadership. Not oh, here's a Nintendo. Go like get on my site. You don't learn anything
Yeah,
from that.
look, I am very, very fearful of any state that's got the power over children. And I
Yeah,
have seen that in South Africa. I've seen that overseas. I've seen it every single way I've gone. It is a dangerous, dangerous thing. And if you can homeschool, homeschool. I'm sorry, I know it sounds a little bit, but at least you're keeping your child with a free mind to make free decisions, to look at everything, every point of view, and not be influenced. Go, they've got inquisitive minds. Let them go do their own research. Give them the books to read. Give
sure.
them the things and say, listen, here's a pro, here's an anti. Let them get to start making decisions for themselves. They can read the books, they can debate it, they can think. Teach them to want to have the knowledge to make the right decisions. Overseas, it's
Correct.
not like that. The decision has been made for you, and this is how it is. And that is, it's very dangerous because we are not creating thinkers, and that's obviously what the people don't
No,
want.
no,
They
we're
don't want.
creating good little corporate tax drones
Oh
for
gosh,
the benefit of the state.
absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, that is the thing, people need to wake up to it. And I think in South Africa, we're sitting with a very big problem of schooling because we're sitting with a lot of freeborns here that really do not know what apartheid was about and that
Yeah.
are very militant and that want revolution because the whites killed all of them. And this is what's being taught. It's being said to them, it's being taught to them, it's being imprinted to them that we killed them continuously. We are bringing up some very militant, very angry young South Africans. And when you look at them, you say, listen, guys, it's 31, we're talking 31, 34, 35 years. Okay, let's put age to that, etc., etc. Aren't you just angry at the ANC? You are
But I think,
28 years of age.
and I think that,
Why are you so
but I think
angry?
that is,
Aren't you just angry at the people that aren't giving you shit now?
so I don't know about you, right, from your little enclave in the Cape down there, but
My own
up
grave.
here, up here, I find race relations has actually improved from 10 years ago.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
borne out in the electoral data. Like the radical anti-white people are like losing power all over the place. The anti is losing power all over the place. And this could just be me, right? It's my lived experience, as the mayor of New York would say. But
Oh,
in my
yeah. Let's not
experience,
go to that, dude.
I
Yeah.
find race relations improving because the enemy is common. Like everyone knows who the enemy
Yeah.
is now, and it's basically the hard left politicians, and that's why no one's voting for them. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's just my impression that I have.
I think you've got more faith with the people around you than what's actually out there because there's a lot of people. I don't know. Look, you or I could be right or wrong in this. I have this amazing friend that's also a television producer who's back in KwaZulu Natal, hates it, and is a Zulu. Always loved Josie, loved Cape Town, but found it, yeah. I have to say the weather in Cape Town's not nice. The weather in Josie is much nicer than in Cape Town. And it was so strange. A young guys. I think he's turning 30 next year. Timberlane is turning 30. Lovely guy. What an amazing guy. We live together, and we very very similar people. And what they he was taught at school. He says, but Lizahn, this. And I said, hey, whoa, wait, let's sit down. Let's have a discussion about this. This is what I was taught. Here's the history books. Let's look up exactly what happened and how these things worked. I mean, the big thing we had was the 16th of December. He went, oh, it's Shaka Day. My father's so happy. I said, Shaka Day? Where are you getting Shaka Day? Yeah, dude, if it's going to be any day, it's going to be Dungan's Day, So I don't know. And then we had to sit and he told me what he knew. I had to tell him what I knew, what I was taught. And between the two of us, and then we opened some articles up, we read through that, and we could find common ground and sort of like work our way through it. And this is schools. And if this is what's being taught to kids, you know, at schools, I understand. I understand why we've got militant people that are very angry, Roman. I think,
Cool.
we get along with a lot of people. A lot of people get along, but it doesn't mean that people aren't angry. We've got very angry people out there. I'm angry. I'm
And
angry.
rightfully so.
I'm
Mhm.
I'm angry because I mean, how do we waste this? You walk out here in the most beautiful city in the world. It hasn't just been the most beautiful city in the world once or twice or three times. It's been the most beautiful city in the world many a times. How do we bugger this up? Why are we doing this? You know, um, and this country that's got so much to offer. We've got so much to offer. Look at our mining. Look where that has gone. It's crazy. And the more I tell people that, hey, dudes, since 2004, you guys own the land, you own the underground rights, you own the mining, you own all of these things. This is your rights. Let you put pressure on the government to handle our mining and things better.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. They think that we, the white people, own the mines. No, it hasn't been like that for a very, very long time, as we all know. I mean, look at Lonmin Mine and all of those things and everything else that went down in Joburg. It's horrible what's happening in our mining rights and what's happening there. It's just terrible.
Some
And
someone once told me, if apartheid was so great for whites, why, if you had a cousin in the Netherlands who was the same age as you, and you grew up from 1948 to 1994, your cousin in the Netherlands would be twice as rich as you.
right. Yeah.
Apartheid wasn't a great system, even for the whites, objectively in global terms, economically. So yeah, people need to pick their battles a bit
No, no,
better.
it wasn't. And what people need to realize as well was a lot of things were sponsored by the state for the Baputetswanas and the vendors and the Swats, like it is still till today. But a lot of things were sponsored, and the South African government, apartheid government, paid for that. You know, it wasn't that everybody was just lost. Sanel's dad being a doctor in those years, I mean, it was pre 94. They had at Steve Beaker, I think it's called now, it was HF Verwoerd at that stage. They had the different parts. So they had East Wing and West Wing. Okay, so West Wing was the coloreds and the blacks where they were segregated towards, and that was their wings, and then the other wings with the white wings. But everybody went to the same emergencies, and
Mm,
everybody was operated in the same operating theaters. The only thing that changed was the nursing staff as well. You had the black nursing staff on the western side, and colored and Indian people, and you didn't have them on the white side. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Remember, I'm talking many years ago now. And what we found then, um, it's like how did, and those HF, it worked. It worked. We had a fantastic university students we had a fantastic facility that taught new professors, that taught new students, that taught new surgeons, that taught new people. We don't have that anymore, you
yeah,
know. We had that, and also the apartheid government paid for that. We had healthcare for our Black South Africans that were amazing healthcare. I was there with open heart surgeries. I was actually in the theater because I find those things very interesting. So I watched these things, and the things that happened was amazing. What we did, and people got first first class, world rated services there from the best professors and people in the world. And look where we are now with medication, with medicine. I mean, it's just crazy.
yeah,
I had a huge fight with Discovery the other day because all of a sudden, oh, no, no, we're not going to pay that. We're not going to pay this and this and this. And I sat there, and today, in today's day and age, if you don't want to die, you have to have a private medical aid. You need
correct.
a private medical aid.
I know, I
And
know.
the price is unbelievable. It is crazy. And it feels to me like the price is just going up. We're just paying more and more and more and more. And we should have this facility that we had in those years that looked after everybody, and that serviced the whole nation, and that brought new talent up, and that gave them chances to succeed. And we don't have that anymore. People are leaving. The South African doctors are getting out of here by the millions and the thousands. They're
Yeah,
just running for better shores. And then where does it leave us here, giving you know world class situation, well, world class medicine to the people? Yeah, I don't know. That is going to the
yeah,
NHI thing. I wonder if it's ever going to be implemented. If I feel it will be, because the EU is going to push for it for sure,
yeah,
and the DA
probably.
is buying into
Oh,
it.
the DA is
The
going to push
DA,
for it, of course. They
yeah,
haven't
they're
seen
buying
it.
into it 100%.
They haven't seen a state experiment that they dislike, right? And they say, "Oh, it's terrible," but we this is how they couch it, right? And all the corporates do the same. Like we like the goals, but the
Oh,
methods
yes.
are wrong. So the methods should change, that we control it as Discovery, and then the goals will be, for everyone. Sure, buddy. Sure. I don't trust you one little bit either. How about
We've been there.
we just take what exists and make it better? I know it's
Yeah,
radical.
can't we
It's a
just
very
take
radical
what we've got?
thing. Yeah.
Yo. My big thing to everybody is, but we've got an NHI. Why do we need another one? Can't we just fix the one we've got? You know,
Yeah.
we've got this thing. I mean, the other day when I was hunting because I got angry at Discovery and I'm looking for new medical aid. So I'm phoning all these people, send me things, let me check my emails. And now I'm checking to see which hospitals I can go to because of certain medical aids you only could go to certain places. And all of a sudden I get to this thing that Groote Schuur private hospital, private clinic. And I go, what? So Groote Schuur has like privatized a part of them? I mean,
Yeah. No,
really?
they have
I
here
didn't
as
know
well.
that. Really? I really
Well,
didn't know
here
that at all.
well,
So
at Joburg Gen, there's a private ward, and all the celebrities go there for their surgery and politicians. I think what's her name? Uh, old Jessie Duarte. Jessie Duarte. She was
oh
here.
yes,
My,
yes,
my
yes.
wife used to work at Joburg Gen, and yeah, there's like a private ward, and a few celebrities used to go there as well. I don't know why. Just go to Mill Park. It's much better. It's like a kilometer away. But anyway, yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
it does happen. We got
Do
all
they
the
have like
facilities here.
special nurses for these wards, or does the whole
Maybe,
thing is it functions like a private clinic?
yeah, very much so. I don't know
Okay, well, I didn't know
how.
that, so I was flabbergasted when I found that out. That was very strange to me. But for me, the whole thing is we've got an NHI. Can we just fix the hospitals we've got? Can we just stop stealing 2 billion rand from Timbisa? Guys, really, can we just stop taking so much money? Take a little
I mean,
bit. If you need to take,
yeah,
can we
like
just take
everyone else
less?
does. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think the fundamental question for South Africa going forward is: are the Black South Africans going to accept the consequences of their decisions electorally? Right? And if not, then fine, we'll balkanize. If they
Look, this is
if
where
they
we're getting
learn
to
the
dangerous.
lesson, it's not dangerous territory. We know what the electoral results are. We know what the race census is on these electoral results. If you voted for the ANC and the repercussions have been what we see all around us, there's a lesson in that. And if you change your vote or you build new structures or you replace the ANC with something else that actually does good work, cool. A lesson has been learned. But if you don't, and you just become more and more enraged about what you create in the first place, we will just balkanize the people who can. And for the rest of you, go to your NHI shithole hospitals. At the end of the day, it's not my problem and not my fault.
Oh, absolutely. And I love this whole thing of you talking. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I forgot about this. I'm changing the subject. I love the balkanization thing, but the first time I heard it was when you had an interview with somebody, and I thought, shit, yeah, that's true. You are right. When you move into your little like estates and you just keep yourself apart, you're so 100% right. I never thought about it that way. So thank you for that. That's been really interesting. Um, the thing is just like if we don't start talking to one another and we don't know how the others are living and we do balkanize the whole time, we're not going to solve the situation. You know,
No,
is the situation solvable? My thing is where I say it's dangerous territory because we're looking at 30, say 31, 32, 34, whatever, 31 years basically that we've now had a democratic, you know, ANC. There's many people who don't know what a well functioning country is. There's many
correct.
people who are born in squalor who don't know what well functioning country is, who will just accept anything, who doesn't know what a train looks like. I mean, I laugh myself to death now with Cyril Ramaphosa on the train in Switzerland having a meeting. It's like, what? No, no, we used to have trains, but they used to work. They used to be
Yeah,
great methods of transport. Can we just fix them, please? A train is a brilliant method of transport. It's we're sitting with people that don't know what it is like to have a system that works. And that's
I
where
agree.
the I think the danger lies, is that therefore it's okay to accept what is happening because that's all they know.
So that is one view of which I can understand it and I can share some of it. But I think because we are so hyper connected. I mean, every second video on TikTok is about some high speed train in China built in like 30 seconds. And I think South Africans here are going to be like, we, why can't we have that? So I think that the standards are not going to be set by what you see. The standards are going to be set by what you see on your screen. And the more connected people become, actually the standards hopefully will become much higher. Though my pet peeve is going to a restaurant and there's an Uber driver waiting for a delivery and he's on his fucking TikTok, and it's complete bullshit wank. I'm like, God, just watch like engineering stuff or like watch stuff that makes you think about other things, but it's just slop and it irritates the fuck out of me. You're an Uber driver. Obviously, you got a job. You want to be aspirational. Like, you got time. Do stuff that upskills you. I see these security guards everywhere, and they just sit there.
Mm.
I'm like, guys, I wish I had 12 hours to do fuck all. I'll be reading and researching and like taking online courses. These people just sit there. It's like they're just passively living,
But they're happy to do that. And
and
that's
that
what I'm
fucks me
scared
off.
of, is that they're happy to sit there and just drink all this nonsense up and fill their brains with it. It makes them happy. They're content. They don't want to find out more. They don't, then they're not inquisitively minded. This is all they know. And it's like the Eastern Cape. I mean, what is the biggest problem in the Eastern Cape? The people that live in the Eastern Cape. Because they
Correct.
keep on voting the ANC, you know. So,
We are
and
going
then
to
when
crack
they're
on
not
here.
happy, they just hoy on the bus. Hey, one
Yeah,
time, Cape Town, you know, and then
yeah,
they land
yeah.
here in Cape Town, and we just go, hey, no problem. Let's give you, let's give you some housing in Woodstock. Let's give you some housing in Greenpoint. Let's do this, you know, because Cornel Lewis was the weak chin. Cornel Lewis can't wait to make you happy, as can't Auntie Helen, just wants more voters in there so she can turn this whole situation around. And John Steenhuisen just wants to dance at another little event in China, you know. I mean, it's pathetic. I sorry, I just stop going.
Yeah.
Guys, really, you have to start voting for something else. I don't care what it is. If you start
Yeah.
voting for Paw Patrol, I'll be happier, you know. But also,
Just
you know, we
just vote
need,
for Freedom from Plus, man. Just vote for the Afrikaners. They know how to run a country. They did it for 100 years. They're not
you
so
know
like
what?
getting far from
That
this.
is one of the best moves Ronaldo ever made in his life. I'm very sorry, but that when Ronaldo turned around and said that he is joining the Freedom Front Plus, I was just like, dude, now you're on it. You've got something going. Because, I mean, the Freedom Front Plus need new, young, dynamic guys.
That's for
They
sure.
really do. They need people like Ronaldo. They need people like you, by the way, Roman, and that's they really do. They need to
Yeah.
bring in new, young, dynamic thinkers that are there and that question things and that drive things home. And if they had that, they're going to go 100%. I mean, I watched Corne Mulder's little video of his daughter, and it was beautiful, and it made him human. And that um, interview you had with Corne, I mean, you digged him as well. I love the guy. I think he's fabulous, and he
Yeah,
knows what
next
he's
one.
talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not everybody's going to go, okay, well, because he's intelligent, he knows what he's doing, he knows how they're doing. And look at Groenewald. He's got these dudes planting their own food, baking their own bread. Let's just talk about them, you
Yeah.
know. Is they baking their bread, they're planting their food, and they're working at Paulsmoor, and they're working everywhere. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Groenewald has made a huge difference in our situation. Not that the ANC is happy because now they've got their tenders are being dried up. They're not making money out of our system anymore. But
Sure. Sure.
people aren't necessarily gonna. I mean, they look old. They look like Afrikaners, so they're not gonna grab, you know, the young crowd. Um,
So
I think
we
our
are,
future lies in younger politicians. Really, we need young
yeah,
politicians out
like
there.
Julius Malema. Fully agree. By the way,
Yeah, right.
our time is way over.
Class.
But this I've been working on this idea, and it's not an idea that I've come up with.
Straight out.
This idea about a foreigner coming to a place and becoming the hardcore nationalist for that place. Historical examples: Stalin was Georgian, not Russian, but he ran Russia. Hitler, not German. If people know the history, he's Austrian. Went to
Okay.
Germany, became like the German dictator. Verwoerd, Dutch. He was born in the Netherlands. He came here
Mm.
as a, I think, as a boy or as a student, became the prime minister. All these people, okay, they're not people I follow, right? These are not my politics. But
Mamdami, Mayor of New York.
yeah, no, he's not a nationalist. He's a socialist bastard.
No, I'm
Bukele,
just joking,
Bukele
man.
in Bukele in El Salvador is Palestinian, actually.
Yeah.
But what you have this weird thing in history where you have immigrants coming to a place and becoming the most hardcore nationalist of that particular place. And
So true. I've never thought about that.
and like I see myself in that same vein, not as a Hitler. For those, I know people are going to clip this and say, like, look, he sees himself as Hitler. No,
You and I
but
are
what I'm saying
big
is,
trouble.
I
Yeah.
know what the other side of the world looks like, and it's not that fucking great. So I'm gonna like just triple down here rather because I know what that side looks like. It's in decay. It's going down the tubes, and I don't want to get
Mm.
run over by some immigrant in a truck somewhere. Um, so yeah, that's what the Freedom Front Plus actually needs. Going back to them, they're Afrikaners. They're sort of old school. They're set in their ways. They need some young blood, but not young Afrikaner blood. They need
No,
young
no, we've got enough of that going around too.
foreign international blood, which is what I
Yeah.
can bring to the table. But I've got a very high price. I don't know if they can afford me. I'm just gonna be honest.
Well, it's just, I'm just saying if the Freedom Front Plus wants to get anywhere because they're very educated, they've got guys that know what they're doing, they're hardworking, they're diligent, but they are going to need, they need, they need youngsters. And I think what you are saying is 100% correct. We need something, somebody just coming in and saying, hey, this is it. And it doesn't help. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody said the other day as well, how could you vote for the referendum party? It's easy. I voted referendum party for Cape Town because I'm sick and tired of being outlived in Cape Town by foreigners who I have now decided that foreigners, if they want to come to Cape Town and buy more housing, we should actually charge them double, taxes, rates and taxes, charge them double rates and taxes so they can pay it back to the city of Cape Town. Also, any rent that a foreigner takes from anybody in Cape Town should be paid back to tax the foreigners, because we will quickly solve the problem of Cape Town and places available and our rent problem, yeah, that just keeps on skyrocketing. That will be solved very, very fast. But we need better representation. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I just think that when I look at the podcasters out there, I look at you, I look at Sizwe, he's doing brilliantly. I look at Sama, he's fantastic. I mean, Robin Emilio is amazing. The work Emilio is doing, and his wife Sky is fantastic. Sky's like the Encyclopedia Britannica, it's just like amazing. There are such amazing young people in South Africa that can break that barrier. I'm not saying go to the Freedom Front. I'm not saying go to the referendum party. I'm not saying anything like that for these people. But what I am saying is these people have loud voices and they're clear and they have a big following. And I think that political parties should start looking at these guys. They should start looking at them and say, okay, we need something here. We are missing something here because we haven't grown very much. We're up and down. We keep on groveling here, just, you know, above and down. Let's start doing something and employ and implore these people instead of just leaving everything out there. I don't know. I think we're doing something really, really wrong with the small political parties, um, especially the Afrikaner parties, that they're doing a lot, that they need to open those blinkers up and get into more English speaking people, younger people, start going for that dynamic and getting that in. So Ronaldo with Freedom Front Plus, brilliant move. Brilliant move for the Freedom Front Plus and for Ronaldo.
Yeah, No, good for them. Good for them. Maybe I will. Cornet doesn't want to see me, so hopefully that will happen quite soon. We just can't coordinate diaries, and we'll see where it goes. But I've seen how politics works, and it's don't know if I want
It's
to go through
yucky.
that again. If
Yeah.
you pay me lots of money, yes, I'm tired of doing stuff for free and then getting fucked. You know.
Well,
Anyway,
they definitely
that's
did a
just me.
job on you and Ronaldo. They definitely did. And I mean, the one thing is that I would have felt severely betrayed. I think I would have questioned a hell of a lot of things after something like that happening to me. Whether that's what happened to you and Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they invite you, right? If they headhunted you in the first place, it's different. You know, if you're a member and whatever, I get it. But if they invite you in, obviously they have some sort of prospects. Anyway, Lizahn, thank you for joining me. We way over time,
Roman,
so I'm
lovely
sorry.
meeting you. And go forth and
Same.
conquer. Love to your wife and your kids, and God bless. And
Thank you,
it's
and yours.
fantastic. And keep on doing what you're doing.
And good
Pardon?
luck on being a new granny next week. Very
Oh,
exciting.
yay. It's not ending, eh? Yes, no, I am so looking forward to it. I said to Sanal, oh, can we please just have like one baby that's got a little bit of color? Because as everybody can see, I'm quite dark. And my daughter's also a little bit mochaccino, is she? And our first one was very white. We had a very Caucasian baby, so we're looking forward to having a baby that's got maybe a little bit more of the mom and the daughter in her, you know. That would be nice to have someone that looks like us, but we will love it the same anyway. But it's going to be fun.
Quite,
Always
quite.
exciting.
All the best with that. And for all of you watching, thank you so much for watching. Please do join us
Yeah.
tomorrow with another so called ordinary person. But as you're starting to find out, the people come on as ordinary are never actually that. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye.